Today's guest left the safety of employment to start her own firm. She now shares her expertise in some of the largest industry stages. She runs her own accountancy practice called Forward Accountancy and Advice. Today we have Yvette Fitzhenry. My name's Oli Eardley and this is the Eardley Bird Business Podcast powered by our people. And if you do me the favour, it would help out so much if you would subscribe, like, share, whatever you can do. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. I'd like to start is I'd like to learn a bit more about your background, how you got to where you are now, basically. So I was wondering if you could talk me through your journey from sort of beginning in your career to where you are now.
Yeah, sure. Quite interestingly, I actually started off doing a psychology degree, which is totally different from accounting. So I originally wanted to be a clinical psychologist. And then once I finished my degree, I started working then with children with like behavioral and emotional problems and things. But I found that I wasn't able to switch off, and I would go home and I would be worrying about them and things and always calling up and checking. And I guess at that age, I felt like, I'd never be able to like lose that empathy or be able to switch off. Maybe I could have learnt it, but at that age, I never considered it. So then I was like, well, what can I do with my life then? And I was always told I was good with like maths in school and things. And I liked business. So I thought I'm going to go into finance and accounting. So then I moved totally into, I moved then into working in finance, so in investment banking. And there is when I started then studying to be an accountant. So I came from like industry, working up being an accountant and working in like finance business partner roles and things like that. And then once I became then qualified, I moved around to then different industries doing that. And then about 2 years ago was when I then set up Forward, with the view then to carry on with that kind of financial advisory.
Sure. And
Yep.
do you think your sort of experience going into different industries, does that help you with your current business?
I think so, yeah, because each of the industries that I went into have different priorities, and also the stakeholders are different types of people in the different industries that you work in. So in the investment banking, it was more like big corporate men that were in like the US or in London and things that I was having to like advise. And then in other ones, I worked at like the University of Manchester, and that was kind of more of a female focused business. So it was speaking to them, and they had obviously different priorities of looking after the students and looking after the academics. So that kind of gave me different experience on how to deal with different people, but also the different importances of like how to advise them.
Sure. And so your business then, Forward. So could you talk us through that just for the people that don't know what it is or what you guys do, who you focus on?
Yeah. Forward was originally set up to be more of a like financial advisory type business, because that's where more of my experience and industry comes from. Industry comes from, and the intention with it and what the name is, Forward, was to look at forward-looking finances, so all budgeting, forecasting, cash flow, to help people like make those strategic decisions in the future. And then as a new business owner, for whatever reason, I started focusing more on the compliance type of work. So I've been building Forward with a lot of compliance focus. So a lot of my clients are compliance clients, but but now I'm more focusing now on like the fractional finance director type of work.
So you started how long ago?
So I set the business up 3 years ago, but I didn't actually start doing anything with it for a year after that, because I set it up because I was contracting as well when I was in corporate. But then when I actually started to trade, it was about, I'd say about a year and 3 months ago.
So in that very early stage, then, so that first year before you actually started trading, what were you doing in that time? Just explain.
I think I was just thinking about colors, thinking about logos, thinking about names. So there wasn't really any urgency because I was still working in my corporate role at the same time. So I was just plodding along, kind of thinking of all of these things and what I wanted the website to be looking like, when really, now that I look back, and the advice that I'd give other people is to just get started. Don't be worrying about fonts. Don't be worrying about colors. Just wait until you get started, because even what I did decide then has totally changed now. So as you get more experience in what it is that you want to do and you learn things, it all changes then anyway.
I see that all the time, especially when speaking to newer business owners, where it's like, oh yeah, but I can't start doing that yet because I've got to do this page on my website, or I need to set up this bit of
Everything needs to
social.
be perfect.
So it's like,
yeah.
just get going, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I wish I would have done that.
So let's say the past 2 years then, when we've been sort of moving forward, what would you say your typical client looks like?
I really have a varied range of them. So I'd say a lot of them are females that I have attracted, and I do have some male clients as well. And it's a whole range really. So some are more sole traders and just helping them monthly with their bookkeeping and things. Then I have the traditional limited company services, where that would be the bookkeeping and helping them throughout the month with any support, and then the year-end accounts. But then I do also have more of finance director clients, so that would be having more monthly analysis with them and looking at budgets and variance analysis on their finances and things.
Okay, great. And is there any specific industries that you try and focus on, or is it really anyone and everyone?
So it was at first any, as I was kind of just getting familiar with things and what it was that I liked. But now I really enjoy e-commerce businesses. I have a couple of e-commerce clients, and I just really love that. So I think that's what I'm going to kind of look towards, I think, going forward.
Sure. So you've worked with your wide net, and now you're thinking e-commerce might be the way to go.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because my favorite role that I had was working at the Bank of New York Mellon, which was when I was in the investment banking, and I was totally thrown into the deep end in my first finance business partner role, and I managed these like all of the corporate offices in EMEA, APAC, and the UK, and I had to do the budgeting, the forecasting, the monthly variance analysis for all of those offices. So I would come in the morning and speak to stakeholders in APAC, and then I would work late to speak to the stakeholders in the US due to time zones. And because I love to travel, I just loved all of that, and I loved the different currencies. So with the e-commerce businesses now that I work with, I get that. I get that satisfaction of being able to work with different currencies, different countries, and things like that. So that's really what I love.
Perfect. So up until now then, so to get the clients, how have you gone about that? What's been the routes to market the business, to win clients?
So it's been a combination and trial and error. So a lot have come through LinkedIn. I've done a lot of posting on there. So some have come from there. Some have come from networking events that I've gone to around Manchester. I've had some through Instagram, but not as many. And then also through referrals as well.
Right. Okay. So starting with LinkedIn then, because that's interesting, because I know you do quite a lot on there.
Yeah.
So talk us through that side of things. What do you do on LinkedIn? How often do you post? What do you post?
So last year I got into a good rhythm with it, and I was posting maybe 3 or 4 times a week, and I was posting different types of things then. So I was posting about business updates, I guess some value educational posts, and then just kind of I guess just more personal ones as well. And then I have kind of lost it in these last few months, and I need to get back into the routine of posting. So I am building that up more and going to be a bit more focused, I guess, on like e-commerce businesses with my marketing now.
No, that makes absolute sense. So
Yeah.
would you say when you were more frequent with it last year, were you winning more clients? Were you getting more inquiries at that point, or has it just sort of been building up since then?
No, it's actually stayed the same. And I think that's because maybe I'm a bit more established now. So I guess maybe even though I am posting less at the minute, I'm more established so people know me on there. And it's never really like we have like lurkers on there, don't we? So it's never really, as soon as you post, somebody like reaches out, they watch and watch and watch for a while and then may reach out whenever the time is right for them. So I'd say it's about the same as it was, really.
So would you say with your posts, is there a certain type of post that you'd post and you'd be like, all right, I'm going to expect that there's going to be some inquiries coming off the.
Yeah, so more of the educational and also like case studies as well. So when you're actually showing like social proof. So I've had somewhere I've had clients that have allowed me to post about them, like so that people could actually see who they were. Then with those ones, they definitely get more leads with them. Yeah.
I think I've seen, at least from what I've done and what I've seen other people and chatting to other people, that
Mm,
those are the types that tend to bring in the most inquiries.
mm.
But you almost have to have the other stuff around that, like the
Yeah.
personality stuff, in order to build your profile first. So
Yeah, I agree.
there is definitely a mix needed, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree because it's interesting because the ones that are like the case studies or the education, um, even though they kind of show authority and they get the leads, you build relationships more with the other one where you can actually speak about yourself and people are like, oh yeah, I love dogs as well. Like if I post about my dog or things like that, and that's how then you build the relationship side of it.
You mentioned networking in
Mm.
Manchester. So I know you do bits of networking, and I've seen you've done some events. You did Fab recently, was that right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that in a minute. What sort of events did you go to? What sort of networking did you sort of focus on? Is there a certain type, like industry specific, or were you general?
Mm.
How did you approach that?
So I think because I was still early days in being a business owner, I went to quite a few of them. Some of them were not, I guess, what um not really that ones that would have been beneficial to my business, but I guess that's how you learn by going to them. And then once I kind of got a bit more familiar with them, I kind of like the more female focused ones. So a lot of like the female networking events that I went to, and they're the ones that I have got more of the leads from in those ones.
Okay, and moving on to the event stuff, because we kind of mentioned Fab there. Have you done much in terms of speaking before?
In the past, well, I used to have to present when I was doing the finance business partner roles in corporate. So every month I would have to present, like create a financial pack and then present to the stakeholders. So it was so intimidating doing it at like the Bank of New York, to the big stakeholders in like the US and London. And I was brand new in it. And I really did in the past used to have a fear of public speaking. Like, really bad, like in university and in college I would cry before it and things like that. And when I realized in the finance business partner roles that I was going to have to do it, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And I ended up volunteering to go and do um, speaking at different things. So I went volunteering to teach like school leavers about their finances and things to help build my confidence. And then I made sure that whenever I was each month when I was doing those presentation packs, I literally went into everything in detail. So anything that they would ask me, I would know the answer to, because I think that's what I was scared of, them asking something and I'd be like, I don't know. Yeah. So from that, I just built up my confidence, and now I'm here like speaking at these events, and it's just it's such a difference. Yeah. At Fab, it was lovely. It was really nice. Yeah, we were on a panel together, or with a few with four people, and it was really interesting because the person that I was on with, Liam Wilson, if you know him, like he took a different approach to starting his business. He left his employment and went straight in, whereas I built up mine part-time alongside with working. So it was good to have those comparisons. And then Oli from Starling was talking about, I guess, the higher level of being able to see how everybody does it differently. So it was great, yeah. And then at the end, a lot of people then came to like talk to us that were in our situation, that are in the situation that we were in, and ask for advice and things. So it was just really heartwarming, yeah.
So how did you, just on that subject then, how did you find building a business on the side whilst working in a corporate?
Very tough. Yeah, I used to work for that year, 2024. I was working from like 6 a.m. until like 9. Then I would start the job 9 till 5. Then I was working the evenings, and I pretty much worked every weekend doing the business side of things. Yeah, it was hard. And it was also something that I spoke about at Fab, actually, that because I was doing that, my identity of myself was still as an employee, because obviously I'd always been an employee. And that's where I guess my responsibility was with at that time. Of course, I was doing the business, but I had to be, I guess, respectful to my work and still continue with that. And then as soon as I left then at the end of November and became a business owner, my identity totally changed, and I became a business owner, and my mindset was thinking in such different ways, like of how I can do this in my business, how I can market, how I can do maybe this in the future and things like this. And I wasn't thinking that beforehand when I was in the employee mindset. Mm, yeah, I wasn't thinking about it at the time. It's only since leaving that I realized that that's what was happening. Yeah.
Sure there's people listening to this that would, I think,
Oh, I hope so.
So you've got LinkedIn, you've got networking. What was the other areas that grow in the business?
Instagram. Instagram. That one's really slow at the minute. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Yeah. So, but I think what's happened with that one is that the networking events that I've gone to with the females, they mainly have Instagram. So then we've connected on Instagram, and then after a while, after they've been ready, they then contact me through Instagram. But there have been a few which I've never met before. But yeah, I think it's mainly that way with Instagram.
Okay, so it's just those three main areas, was it, or is there anything else that was?
I think I said another one, didn't I? Oh, referrals. Yeah. So they've started to come through now as well. So whether that's through clients that have referred me on, or like relationships that I have with like other people, like other accountants, or other businesses that may have a similar client base to what I have, but have different services, then they will refer them on to me as well.
So with the business up until now then, so what would you say has been the hardest part of building your business?
I'd say it was definitely about the time and having to wear all of the hats. So having to figure out which software you're going to use, having to learn how to do a landing page. I didn't know what one was beforehand. Having to learn how to do the marketing yourself. And just, I guess, everything else that's involved with all of that, like doing everything in your business. I never considered that beforehand. I don't know why I didn't, but yeah. And the second part is definitely the fear of putting yourself out there on social media. So because I am quite private and I get like a little bit nervous, I think, with like some social things, putting myself out there and thinking what, say, previous employers might think, or what ex-partners may think, or ex-friends may think, all of that, like you have to kind of just fight through.
I guess it's one of those things where a lot of people, you almost, I think everyone's the same, where you almost care what other people think, especially in the beginning, where you're just like, I'm going to be posting videos of myself online and whatnot, and what they're going to say about that. But I think that's the hardest part. As soon as you start to post more about yourself and actually show your personality, I think you find out no one actually really cares that much.
Yeah. And it's funny because some of those people that I was worrying about have actually reached out and been like, oh, I'm so proud of you. You've done amazing and things like that. So it was, there wasn't any point in worrying about it really. So yeah.
So that was the toughest part. What's been the best part?
The best part has been creating something of my own that works, and the reassurance that I've given to clients and how they have been so relieved and have actually like told me how much I've helped them and how much safer and reassured they feel because of something that I've built, that's the best thing.
Perfect. So with the growth of the business then, just to get to, the clients and how you've got the clients, we've kind of covered that. So where are you now in terms of the business? Have you got any employees, or do you have any plans to have any employees?
So I don't have any employees. I have some people, some friends in the UK that I outsource certain things to. And I'm not sure what the future is, because I want to focus more now on the finance director work. So what happens with the any other compliance things, maybe I will kind of get employees to manage that side of things, whilst I focus on the finance director, but that it's still in my mind as to how I'm going to do that.
Perfect. So, and getting more of the finance director side stuff then, what's the plan there?
Plan is that I'm going to focus more of my marketing towards talking about that type of thing, because my posts previously were very compliance based, talking about tax, new laws, how to complete tax returns, things like that. Whereas now I'm focusing a lot more on like pricing and budgeting and cash flow. And I think, well, I've already started doing that, and I've already been attracting people in that require those services. So that's what I'm going to do. I've also updated now my LinkedIn. So my banner has now changed and my feature to show more of the finance director type of thing, because it was very compliance based previously. So hopefully with all of that, that's gonna make that shift.
That makes sense. So with the business then, we're in a good position. We're at a point now where you know what you want. With the finance director stuff, would that be with e-commerce businesses? Just so I make sure I'm on the complete same page.
I think so. I think so. The main niche is going to be women in business, and whether that will be e-commerce. Totally. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a lot of focused on e-commerce. But I would like to also maybe explore some other industries as well, just to see how I feel about those ones as well. But mainly like women business owners.
Okay. I wanted to see if these guys had any questions at this point in the podcast. So do you?
Yeah, we've got a few. I'll go first, if that's all right.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about LinkedIn. Now you've got a big brand on there. As a business owner yourself, like what posts do you engage in? I know we talk about like what to post and what things can get the most engagement, but what do you go on LinkedIn for, and how does that kind of benefit you?
What other posts do I engage with?
What do you look for when you go on there? Like what catches your eye?
So at first, last year, because I was a new business owner and I didn't have like any business friends, I was building. I wanted to build like some. I think that I was thinking of LinkedIn in that way, really, of making like friendships, so networking. So I was doing a lot of networking with business owners to be friends with and things like that. So I have quite a lot of that on there now, but also I like to connect with like ideal clients and things on there. Yeah.
My top question for you, Yvette, is what is your take on the Make Tax Digital movement and the deadline that's creeping closer for April next year?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to everybody that's watching?
Yeah, well, interestingly, I went to the Sage Roadshow yesterday for Making Tax Digital, and it was really interesting. So yes, so the deadline is coming in next year, and I think the biggest advice that I took away from yesterday was to really start preparing now, because the example given was, say if you have 50 clients, then if you need to do like 1 to 2 conversations a week in order to kind of make them aware and get them prepared in order, like by the time it's going to come in. So now I think it's important to make sure you've got all of your processes in place, your engagement letters up to date, your risk assessments up to date, and systems up to date as well.
Quite a lot to think about.
I think so. They said there was somebody from HMRC that was there as well that was saying we need to kind of think about it in the way of it being as big as when self-assessments were introduced. It's going to be that big of a change.
Absolutely.
I've got one as well. So let's rewind a bit, like a lot of a few years before you started your business. If you speak to someone like your younger self, like what 3 things would you tell your younger self to avoid when making your business?
For someone that wanted to set up a business. So I would say, I guess going back to like one of our first questions, I would say just get started. Like, don't be worrying about a website. Don't be worrying about the fonts. Don't be worrying about the colors. Just get out there and start like meeting people and connecting with people. So that would be one. Another one would be save up money so that you're able to leave your job and then get started fully in like as early as possible with your business full time so that you can get into that mindset of being a business owner. And the third one was any self-doubt that you feel, any fears that you feel, ignore them and do what it is that you want to get to.
That's amazing, that. And to be honest, like you're on about just getting started as well. We recently spoke to Anastasia Torcus. She runs ILA, Independent Legal Advice.
Oh yeah.
And she was going about. She mentioned on the podcast that you should avoid something like analysis paralysis, and that's essentially when you get so overthinking about an idea.
Yes.
After before you invest, I was wondering if you had any
yes.
things like that. Have you experienced something like that?
100%, yeah. So I mean, there's been so much of that, really thinking about things too much that it's really stopped me from doing things, whether that's thinking, oh, should I do this, should I do that, should I do that, and in the end I don't do anything, or whether it's analyzing what people are thinking and being like, oh no, I'm not going to do that because people may think things. So yeah, I think all of that just needs to be shut out, and you need to have that kind of I guess self-belief in yourself to just do what it is that you want to.
Loads of top advice coming out here. This podcast. I was wondering, I often find that most businesses, especially smaller businesses, are trying to spin so many plates and consider so many things, not just about fonts and what content to put on the website, but it's literally everything. You are wearing every hat. What's the one simple thing that you think every business should really be doing to get their finances in check? It's so important and crucial to their survival and their progression as a new business. What would you say is the one rule to stick by no matter what when it comes to finances?
I'd say that it's to not avoid them. So, and to make sure you're doing something on a monthly basis. So whether that's making sure that you're recording all of your receipts, whether that's making sure you're recording all of your transactions in accounting software, just make sure that you're staying on top of them, because having that out of your mind will let you then focus on what it is that you set your business up for.
Yeah, there's one more from that. I was going to say, you can spend as much time thinking about this as you need. I recently found out that like 99% or 90% of the country is made up of SMEs, small and medium enterprises. And my question to you is, if you have one thing your business that makes you stand up from the rest in your industry, what would it be and why? That's a tough question.
I know. Yeah, it's a really good one. Really good. So, what makes me stand out? I mean, I think all of the other ones that are out there as well are all amazing in their own ways. I guess with me, I'm not sure if there's any other ones that are actually focusing on women in business. So I think maybe that is something that will stand out.
100%.
Mm.
I agree. Say when you go to a job interview and like obviously something that might specialise in is like neurodiversity. So I always try and think of stuff that.
Yeah.
I would say that a major observation of mine, more of a statement this than a question, I suppose, maybe leading into a question. I do find that the accounting industry is so tight. Like there's such a good community about that industry.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that is? What makes it so unique? Because we work in lots of different professional industries, legal, HR, employment, consulting, medical, and lots of e-commerce as well. But I think it's rare you find those pockets where everybody's just looking out to support each other and share information so freely and really sort of rally around each other. Why do you think that is in accounting?
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. And I don't actually know. Like, I thought maybe it's because we have a lot of events going on, and I guess there's a lot of speaking things and where we have that chance to kind of connect. And also, I guess we're part of governing bodies and things, so we all support each other in that way as well. But then I guess when you mention, I guess with like legal, they also would have that. And if they've not got that kind of close knit that we do, then I don't know. Don't know about that.
Yeah, it's an odd industry in a way because everyone supports each other. And a lot of other industries I work with, it's like I don't want to let them know my secrets kind of situation.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice that it is, but I don't know why. I don't know.
One last area I want to talk to you about is because I've noticed a bit of a pattern with speaking to other accountancy people is a lot of them seem to have a lot of systems in the background in terms of their business that allows them to grow and allows them to do what they do best, which is obviously advising customers. So when I say the word systems, what does that mean to you, first of all? And do you have anything in place that helps you sort of manage your business?
So with systems, do you mean like the software that I use, or the systems that I have in place, I guess, for the flows of how everything
I'd say a bit of both, actually.
Both. Yeah, so that's been definitely a challenge in like the first year, trying out so many different softwares and then being like registered with them all and having one client here, one client on there and things like that. But also figuring out, maybe this one isn't as user friendly for me, so I'll use this one. And I'm in the stage now of consolidating them so that I just have a few and the clients are on them, like which ones work best. And then in terms of systems, so of how everything flows. So I'm also building those like automations. So with like my onboarding processes, making sure that reduces time for me, because at the minute it is quite time consuming. So I'm in the process of kind of working through those automation flows and just documenting everything. So all of my like onboarding calls, my welcome calls, everything is going to be now documented. So in case if anybody does come in, they can just follow that.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. So that's probably a good place to sort of start to wrap it up. So if someone was listening to this, they want to speak to you, they want to follow you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn under Yvette Fitzhenry ACCA. Instagram is Yvette the Accountant. Yeah.
Perfect.
Actually, one final question.
Yeah.
I'm brimming with them. Can't help it. So Oliver's going to be doing a guest slot talking opportunity at Accountex London.
Oh yeah.
I am. Yeah.
Are you going to be going?
I am. I'm also speaking.
Oh yeah. Perfect. Day one.
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it is day one. Are you day one?
Yeah, I'm only there day one.
Oh, right. That's amazing.
If you're not speaking at the same time, can we count on you to come and cheer him on?
Of course, of course. What time is it?
Thanks, Dave.
What time?
1:00.
Yes, so I'm at 3. I think it is the first day, but yes, I will.
I'll come and cheer you on.
Yeah.
Just leading on from that, this support thing, it's great in accounting. We're trying to just embed digital marketing in with that support network.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask the question. Obviously, you as a character, as a persona, as a brand individually, I mean, you're doing great things online. It's where I've noticed you in particular, and obviously physically from being at Caltex Manchester and a place like that, and seeing you on the scene. So being out there and pressing the flesh, as they call it, or used to call it, a bit old school, that's really important. But how important is digital to you for your business and the future of your business? So things like being found when somebody's looking for your services and representing online. How important is that to you for the future of Forward?
It's definitely becoming more important. So when I did set up, I didn't even consider any of this because I'm not really like a digital technical person. But knowing the way that the industry is moving so quickly in that way, and it's becoming a lot more prominent and things, then it's definitely something that I will be working on, I guess, to build that visibility there.
Well,
Yeah.
Now I've got two questions. One, do you want your professional headshot took at the Caltex? Because I take photos, you see.
Oh, are you going to do that?
Yeah, so if you want photos, you're on stage, I'll be there at 3 o'clock and you'll see us.
Yes, please, yeah.
And then we can send you them.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
No worries. And the other one would be, obviously, because you came to like ad people and like specialise in digital marketing. I feel like a lot of people in your area sometimes, when it comes to digital marketing as a whole, some things like the value doesn't like burst out straight away. So is there anything like a digital marketing practice which at first you were like, that doesn't seem that important, but actually it turns out it's actually a really beneficial technique for your business?
Sorry, can you say that again? Sorry.
When it comes to digital marketing for your company,
Yeah.
is there anything that at first you might have looked at and went, that really wasn't for me, but then actually you've realised that it could be a really good practice?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I mean.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. So I think something important was like my website. So when I set it up right at the beginning, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and it's completely different to what I want now. So I think that I probably would have waited there and then reached out to a digital marketing company to be able to help with it a bit later down the line after I'd figured out exactly or got a bit more familiar with things. Yeah.
It's good, right? So many people be in that situation.
Yeah.
I think kind of makes me think as well. We end up doing somewhat of a clean-up job, fixing things that are
really?
direction a lot of the time. Have there been any, and no names necessary, have there been any crazy situations you found yourself in, or extreme fixes you've had to apply to a client?
Financially.
What's the most extreme circumstance you found yourself in with a customer? I've had some very extreme ones in digital marketing.
Yeah.
I'm not alone in that, and it transitions to accounting as well.
Yeah.
Have there been any? And what kind of? You don't have to name it, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So, not any that have come from another accountant that I've had to clean up, but it's some that have just not had an accountant, and I've had a couple of cases of this where they've come to me because, well, their accounts are actually overdue, I guess, because they just don't understand how it all works. So their accounts were overdue and nothing had been done with their finances for a year, but they'd also not tracked anything and had ended up withdrawing more money. So then they end up with me giving them their corporation tax bill, and there's no money there in their account for them to pay it. So that's been, I guess, one of the more like tricky conversations to help to have with people.
Wow. I mean, I would relate that to sometimes when we speak to businesses they've spent all their budget on stock. And
yeah.
No mechanism to sell it to make the money back.
Oh, right. Wow.
It's almost this rigid situation where you now can't afford to market yourself to get in front of the competitors.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the customers, more importantly, to sell the product. Mm-hmm. It's sort of similar to that. And
yeah.
I think it's a lot of the time when you're setting up a business, there's a level of please everyone forgive me, but like naivety.
Yeah.
Because you're going into it a lot of the time. They might be like me. I'm a sunshine yellow personality, so a visionary. but the organisational skills maybe don't come naturally to me to think about all the cause and effect and consequences and, cross the T's and dot the I's. So I think as a broader message, it's just, if you're in that position, reach out, get professional help from an accountant like yourself.
Yeah.
Speak, don't be afraid to actually speak out and ask for the information. And it's just like being in class, don't be afraid to put your hand up and say,
Exactly.
I don't know the answer, what do I do? It's so important because it could make or break your business, right?
100%. Yeah. Because it can be so scary getting a bill and then you don't have the funds there. I guess that you've not saved to pay it then in the end.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
Thank you for that.
Thank you all.
It's interesting. It's a completely new format. We haven't done this before. Where it was like we're breaking the fourth wall.
Wow. It was really nice. Thank you.